Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 6 Plus Plus. It's a slate day. The biggest mystery of the week that nobody knew was coming. There's no way to foretell that such an amazing set of things would be happening to us today, but we've got new rules, and so there is a lot to cover. We'll obviously be reconvening tonight live to go over sort of the changes in total, talk through the whole thing, how the bigger picture is, but Games Workshop have given us some new detachments to get our teeth into, and I feel like these merit a little bit of attention in their own right, getting stuck in live. And it just so happened that Jack and myself were kicking around free today. And so we are going to dive in and start unpacking those for you. And because it's Jack, we're starting, of course, with some exciting new rules for the Tau. So before we even get into anything, Jack, how are you feeling? You've obviously not had much time with this. How are you feeling about your new present?
I read through it once, and it feels good to, because before this point I was basically just touting the line that Tower are kind of a forgotten faction in 10th edition, which feels
Yeah.
good to that field to no longer be the case. At
Yeah.
least we are being thought about, which is nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, very happy, very happy.
Yeah, exactly. I think the special treatment, because we've seen armies get special treatment, and I think Tau obviously for lots of reasons have been in a sort of middling place for a lot of the edition, but have sort of been left to their own devices, and then they've caught some strays at different times as well, haven't they? Like Cadre taking a bunch of sort of incidental nerfs in recent times, basically because of other factions. So I think that they've not had the easiest time in the last year or so. And certainly in the competitive sense, that's been the issue. So it's nice to see them get something just for them, little special package of rules. I'm very interested to go through it, and we'll see what Jack thinks of it. As I am no Tau expert, but at a surface glance, there definitely appears to be some very fun stuff in here. And it's just a question of where this leaves them in terms of power. So what we'll do is we'll have a nosy through. I'm going to ask Jack. Jack obviously has all the faction expertise. He's just going to throw a little bit of colour in and different ideas and different things as we go through. But otherwise, we'll do an initial read through, and then we can think about what this might mean and what you might want to be doing with the faction. And of course, this is coming in very, very hot and fresh. I'm sure this will all evolve. But this is going to be our very first take. Thanks for watching. Do hit the old like and subscribe. Leave us a comment if you like. We will be aiming to get through the other detachments today, so it should be a really fun day. So yeah, stay with us for that if you enjoy hot takes from very excitable nerds. So here we are. We have the experimental prototype Cadre. A handful of elite cadres equipped with prototype technology from the most renowned applied science divisions of the Tau Empire. It's the honor of these Firecast warriors to field test the newest of these advanced and ingenious weapon systems under true battlefield conditions. I love this as a detachment because this is just... it's all about weird experimental shit, which means we can do weird experimental shit with the rules because that's what we've told you it is.
Yeah.
I guess all the other Tau stuff has been quite sort of bracketed by different aspects of the Montcard, Cowion, the auxiliaries and stuff like that. But this is quite fun, isn't it? It's quite an interesting angle.
Yeah, this is effectively a Borkan detachment, right? From
yes, of course. Yeah.
So, there was a rumor going around that it was a battlesuit detachment. After reading through it, I don't think this is a battlesuit detachment at all. This is just everything for Tau, which is good.
Yeah.
And then obviously, so there's a lot of returning stuff from 9th edition. A lot of familiar names from 9th edition that all a lot of fan favorites that are pretty cool. But it's basically a Borkan detachment.
Yes, no, cool. Borkan. I remember playing against Borkan. Yes, that was it was the counter tech to my Harlequins back in the day because I had to make the range shorter thing, so they made the range longer. Again, I was like, God damn it, stop it. So, in terms of a detachment rule, we've got a very nice, straightforward one. And as Jack has reminded me, this is indeed the Borkan army rule returning. So, this just gives you plus 6-inch range to ranged weapons equipped by Tau Empire models from your army. Where's the application here then, Jack? Because obviously, when I play against Tau, they have certain guns that are very long range already. Where are you going to get the juice from this range boost?
Yeah, so I think range boosts tend to come in handier with weapons that are shorter range.
Yeah,
kind of obvious, but
yeah.
The shorter your range, the more you're going to get out of it. Just for the record as well, Tau Empire unit covers everything in the Codex. That includes all the Crew and Vespid as well. So that's everything that gets the range bonus here. But the stuff that's really, like the ones that really stuck out in my mind immediately, that are going to be really good for this. Breaches go up to 16-inch range rather than 10.
Oh, yes.
Pretty huge for them. Our Flamers go to 18-inch range. Our fusion guns go up to 18-inch range. Our plasma guns go back to 24-inch range, which is quite big for them. Burst cannons, 24 inch. We have a lot of 18-inch range weapons that go to 24, which is quite a nice break point. So that's quite nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other one that was always quite hampered by range is the Ghost Kill Fusion Collider. That was 18-inch range. So it's like a kind of a weird melter gun. But
Yeah.
people never took it because it was 18-inch range and it's a lone hop, so it's kind of you don't want it. But now it's 24, so that's become more of a viable option, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's exciting. As you say, it opens up a wide range of the up close and personal guns. And I think in a context where there's a lot of speedy, nasty melee armies out and about, I think it's quite nice to be able to engage from a little bit further back and get a little bit more distance between you and the opponent at times, but also to be able to reach out and touch things. So yeah, there's just not a situation in which you regret having more range, right?
Exactly. The other one is missile pods go from 30 to 36, which is actually a really interesting breakpoint because 36 is basically like it's the length you go in most of the UKTC deployments where you can see from your deployment zone into the enemy deployment zone.
Oh, interesting.
If you have a 30-inch range, you have to like come forward to get into the deployment zone to be in range. But now you can just like come out to the side and just see. And be in range.
Makes sense.
So that's good. But yeah.
So I think people will find a lot of application with this, which is very exciting. 100%. So that's just a useful all-round buff to the entire range of models and units. That's really cool. So if we take it to the enhancements, then we have the Supernova Launcher. Tower model only. Select one air-bursting fragmentation projector equipped by the bearer. Improve the strength by 3. Improve the AP and damage characteristic by 1. What do we think of this?
This is solid. I mean, we'll all these enhancements say Tower Empire model, but they're for commanders because they're the only models that can take the weapons that are listed here. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is the Supernova Launcher was a relic in 9th edition, making its return. This puts the air-bursting fragmentation projector to strength 6, AP 1, damage 2.
Okay.
And something to keep in mind for all these weapons is if you attach the commander to a fire knife unit, you get. If you attach them to a Starside unit, they get +1 AP. So you can have +1 AP on top of all of these weapons. So that's something important to remember. So this could be AP 2. Tau have been missing an indirect option.
Yeah, they actually have. They legitimately have. Yeah.
This is good for killing units, right? Mm-hmm. That's where this is going to be super useful. You are not really because you can't take it in quantity. You're both air bursting fragmentation projectors and this relic obviously is well, not relic enhancement is only one per army.
Yeah. 100%.
So it's not going to be like super oppressive.
No.
But yeah, this will be like something that you can use to threaten. Eldari level, guard level, like T3 units basically, from 24 inches away. That's what the range will be with the detachment. 30 inches away with the detachment.
Yeah, completely. And I think, as you say, having it gated behind an enhancement makes sense because it means you're not got it everywhere, but it just gives you ultimately. Yeah, Tau have lacked entirely for an indirect tool that actually can consistently hurt things, really, right? I think that's it. So I've played against it. I'm playing armies that should be getting killed at least a bit by a Tau indirect. And I'm like, oh wow, this isn't doing anything now. So I think having a tool in there is great. It's nice to have it behind the enhancement. That feels a little bit less concerning. Before we go any further, you're crackling a little bit, breaking up on the audio. So just want to double check that for a second.
Yeah.
And then we'll take it on. Shout out to Fitch in the chat. Lovely to have you here. Do let us know what you're excited about in the upcoming slate. Have you had a look yet? I appreciate it's all very, very new with us. We're only just sort of getting our teeth into it. Is there anything out there for you guys? I hope you're all having a good time. I hope there's some exciting new rules for you to be found somewhere or some points that make you happy. All that good stuff. What an exciting Wednesday. Sounding good to me. Try again. Just talk a little bit more. Say something nice about Tau.
1, 2, 1, 2 for the great again.
Yeah, very good. There we go. Beautiful. All right, we're good to roll.
Defaults to the wrong mic on this for some reason.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, it does it with mine sometimes as well. It's really, really annoying. Got some celebrations for Bridgehead Nurse in the chat. Yeah, we'll get to that later on the show tonight. But suffice to say, I'm happy about that as well. I've done my share of playing into Bridgehead lately. I've had enough of it. So we're going to move it on. We're going to go to the Thermoneutronic Projector, which uses volatile gases siphoned from the coronae of neutron stars to expel a flame capable of searing through the armor plating of a battle tank. Oh, I love this nonsense. So we've got a Tau model only. Select one Tau flamer equipped by the bearer. Again, as Jack says, this will be on a commander of some description. Improve the strength characteristic of the weapon by 2. Improve the armor penetration and damage characteristics by 1. And of course, it's already going to be coming in at 6-inch longer range as well. Jack, is this a good flamer? Are we looking at a good flamer here?
Yes, we're looking at 612 for the profile here again, D6 shots. And we are almost always going to be putting this in a Starscythe unit, so it's basically AP2. And it's already ignoring cover. That's just a great weapon, right? Especially
that is a great weapon.
622 in the current meta is just, you could not ask for a more ideal. That being
hurts
said,
elves, hurts marines, all sorts, right?
That being said, I don't know what the meta is going to be necessarily going forward. But in what we expect to be good, that's just solid, right?
Yeah, completely.
The only thing I would say is it may be a little bit unreliable being a D6 weapon, but luckily we have something to cover that later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very cool. So then we have the Plasma Accelerator Rifle. So yeah, literally just updating all of the different guns. Oh, and I can already see the one I'm going to be excited for. It's the one below. But let's do this one first. We've got the Plasma Accelerator Rifle. Select the Plasma Rifle equipped by the bearer. Again, improving the strength by 2, improving the attacks, armor penetration, and damage by 1. Jack, you like plasma. Is this a good plasma?
Very much. Brings us to strength 10, AP 4, damage 4.
That's quite a nice plasma.
And 2 shots. So yeah, I really like this gives an extra shot, because the worst thing you would want is to spend all these points on an upgrade to have 1 shot. Which would be kind of lame. But this is really solid. Really like this. Also, just as a side note, I really love all the like techno babble gobbledygook and all the descriptions of these. It really entertains me. I really like it.
Blends pulse induction technology with a high yield plasma generator.
Yeah, I mean, this is great, right? Because as it suggests, this will be good against light vehicles, right? You know, your sort of Rhino tier vehicles, because you know, strength 8 is something to have a lot of. Strength 10 is something to don't have a lot of. So that's very useful for them. And it's probably going to have you having like rerolls to hit because of the unit you normally put it in. But I could see you putting this in a squad of like just because normally what you do is you take a commander that has all the same weapons as the squad he's joining, because most of the time that buff that he gets is strongest. Like the weapon that he chooses it synergizes best with the buff that the unit gives him. But in this case, you might be like, I've got a Sunforge called Fusions. I'm just going to take 1 plasma with this on, because this is also a solid like weapon if you want to get like full rerolls to wound against vehicles, for example. That'd be really solid. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely nice. I think probably compared to a couple of the others, the 2 shots, if you're choosing, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, because these are all good, so you won't be able to have them all. So it's like the 2 shots for me maybe drops it off a little bit compared to a couple of the others, but it's like it's very fun, and it also is probably the punchiest of the weapons here. But now we're going to where the real heroes live, Jack. We'll go into Fusion Blades. Fusion Blades resemble modified versions of the Tau Fusion Blaster. However, when fired, each weapon unleashes a continuous beam of volatile energy that extends from the muzzle of the weapon. Tau Empire model only. Select 1 Fusion Blaster equipped by the bearer. Improve the attacks characteristic of that weapon by 1. Improve the strength characteristic of that weapon by 3. And that weapon gets Melter 4. I like this. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is really solid. I mean, this one and the plasma, you're effectively increasing the damage output of your commander by 25% just by taking it straight away, by having an extra gun on there, effectively.
Yeah.
But then you get the damage, the buffs as well. So this puts you up to strength 12 and Melter 4 and 3 attacks.
Not too shabby. Yeah.
Which is, that's exactly what you need, basically, as how like it's. Because the melters are only strength 9, even though they have rerolls to wound, reaching up to that higher damage point is a bit difficult.
Completely. Yeah.
So those higher toughness points are a bit difficult. But yeah, this is really solid. It's just kind of all of these weapons are kind of making the unit better at what it already does. When you're, I mean, we talked about it on the show this week with Nas. But if you with a shooting army, like that reliability is really important. Because you don't really have a backup plan with your shooting. You just have to hope that it dies at range. So this is all really solid. Really like all of these. Points wise, just because we didn't cover it as we were going through. This is the most expensive one at 25 points. But I think that's solid. I think there's definitely I don't think that stops you taking it. I think it's definitely
not at all.
reason to take it. Oh, it's metal 4, 18-inch range as well. So you can't deep strike and use it, but that's still really solid.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I think it's a very punchy weapon, and as you say, I think it's something we talked about before. But like the high strength weapons for Tau outside of a couple of the units are slightly lacking. This just gives you that. Yeah, this will hopefully get through a tank and get things done. So. And I guess, you pair him with some of the other fusion guys, and that's going to melt things pretty hard, right? It's quite fun.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's take it forward to the stratagems. So as we've seen, we've got a just flat out nice boost to the range of the weapons. Then we've got sort of choose your adventure Tau commanders, which is good fun. You can do it in different ways and tool up for whatever it is you need to be solving with the weapons. So if we go over to the stratagems, our first one is automated repair drones. Much research is being placed into deploying miniaturized drones to effect battlefield repairs and dispense emergency medical treatments in combat. So this is a command phase buff. You simply pick a Tau battlesuit unit and it regains up to D3+1. D3+1 is in vogue at the moment. Lost wounds. What are we thinking, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, this is solid. Battlesuit units, that covers obviously both types of commanders, Farsight, Shadow Sun, and the 3... Crisis battlesuit units, so Fire Nose, Starside, and Sunforge, but it also covers broadside battlesuits, ghost keels, riptides, and stealth battlesuits.
Yes.
So this is probably not going to be super useful on crisis suits because they don't have a lot of wounds, and it doesn't resurrect models; it just heals them. But
like if they're getting hurt, it's already a bad time, right?
Yeah,
like usually you're not digging them out at that point.
Yeah, they normally just die to a stiff breeze. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's what their role is right now. But units that already have really good defensive stats get a huge benefit from this.
Oh, yes.
Particularly the ones I'm looking at are the Ghost Kill and the Riptide.
Yeah, they love it.
Broadsides get a nice use out of it because they have a lot of wounds and they're quite tough already. But the Ghost Kill and the Riptide in particular are really, really good. I can't count the number of times people have tried to kill a Ghost Kill and left it on 7 wounds, 3 wounds.
Exactly.
It may just never die at this point if you have one of these in your detachment. Same for the Riptide.
That's exactly it. It's the sort of the failed commit. Those guys fall back and shoot. They get out of dodge. Then they're healing up. And I think it's really nice, right? It just brings back one of the sort of key shooty suits to life. I completely agree with you. I don't think it has as much application on the... It's just the thing with the other Tau suits is just, once they're actually getting activated on, they're usually in trouble. But the ones that we always see that go toe for toe for a bit longer, the Ghost Kill and the Riptide really like it. So that's really
this is massive for the Ghost Kill particularly because its main selling point is its resilience.
Exactly, it's going to drive people nuts.
The Riptide.
Yeah, exactly. Really, really cool. And yes, so you're going to have some hero Ghost Kills running around healing back up. I'm really here for it. Next up, we have reactive impact dampeners. Advancements in battlesuit field technology includes the addition of auto-reactive shield dampers to absorb and dissipate energy from high-velocity kinetic strikes. Try saying that over and over really fast. Your opponent's shoot phase or fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its target, you pick a Tau Empire battlesuit. And again, battlesuit's getting a little bit of love here. Selected as a target. So then, until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets your unit. This was an old Borkan thing I remember from before. So if the strength is greater than the toughness of your unit, you subtract 1 from the wound roll. So it's the old -1 to wound when their strength is higher coming in on attacks. How do you feel about this one?
Again, this is a good defensive strat for Ghost Kills and Riptides.
It's really annoying on a Riptide.
Yeah, 100%. It may be worth using on Sunforges because they have an invulnerable save. But yeah, again, it's just a fantastic defensive strat. It's awesome. You can use it in the shooting and fight phase. Most of the defensive strats that Tau have are shooting phase that's locked. So the fact it works in fight phase as well is awesome. And because you have fallback and shoot on a lot of stuff in Tau, getting locked in combat isn't so much of an issue unless you're playing World Eaters. So the fact that you just doing how to live and then you can fall back and do stuff, like it's really big. It's not like, oh well, I'm caught in combat, I'm stuck here anyway and I can't do anything. So it's big living through a combat. So this is, and the fact this is 1 CP as well. I like when I read this, I automatically just my Tau brain was like, this must be 2 CP. There's no point there's no way we get this for 1 CP. But yeah, it's 1 CP, so that's great.
No, this detachment more in line with the newer ones we've seen, where they've sort of sussed out the CP economy a bit more, and it's a bit less sort of stringent. And it's just that -1 to wound in a clutch moment can just completely throw the odds, especially on like low volume, high quality attacks trying to get through like a big suit, and then half of them fail. Like, it can be really clutch. And then again, that's all giving you more chance of getting to use your repair drones to heal up. So really nice one, like that one a lot. Next up, we have experimental weaponry. used in your shooting phase. You pick a Tau Empire unit that has not been selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Each time you roll one or more dice to determine the number of attacks made with a weapon equipped by a model in this unit, you can re-roll the result. Spicy. What are we thinking?
This is what I was referring to earlier with the airburst fragmentation projector enhancement. Makes that way more reliable and way more likely to take it. The main weapon that you would use this on is the Tau Flamers from the Star Scythe unit. That's the one everyone's mind's going to jump to. There's very few weapons in Tau. You actually have to roll the number of shots, but there are a few. The only other ones that I can think of are the Hammerhead. But to be fair, you probably just if you're going to use a CP on that one, like the Ion Hammerhead, if you're going to use a CP on that one, you probably just use a CP reroll it. And then the only other one I could think of are Crutox with Tangle Bomb launchers, which are D6 plus 1 shots. Like strength 5 AP 0, I think. I don't think you would ever use that. So it's basically just flamers. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that has a random number of shots.
But being able to smooth out your flamers at the moment is a big deal, right? With a lot of bricks of T3 idiots running about. That's
100%.
A nice
That's the biggest problem with flamers. When you get them and you roll like 13, 14 shots on them, and it's like
and you're too close. Really you're up close. You've not done enough. You're like So I think it's perfect. Lawrence says this strat is for the Tiger Shark.
You're absolutely correct. Tiger Shark is one that you can use for. I've got a Tiger Shark over there. That's you're 100% right. I didn't even think of that. That's a really good point.
Word. That's a great
2d6 plus 6 shots blast.
Yeah, there you go. So that's quite fun. Very nice. That's another good application of it. Thank you, chat. Okay, moving it along to the experimental ammunition from hardened warheads and amplified ion capacitors to hyper-accelerated pulse fields and refined fusion cores. The Tau are forever innovating improvements to improve the lethality of their ammunition. I'm enjoying these. We've got shooting phase, Tau unit selected. Select one of the following. So you've got options to apply it till the end of the phase. You can improve the strength characteristic of ranged weapons by 1, or you can improve the strength and AP by 1, and then accept the hazardous ability. You're not allowed to use this in conjunction with Threat Assessment Analyzer below. I already have a guess what Threat Assessment Analyzer might be because I know the sorts of things I don't like stacking. But yeah, so Jack, strength boost, AP boost, or both, and at the cost of hazardous. What we're thinking?
Yeah, I mean that's really solid. If I think of units that we've said it before, right? Strength tends to be like Tau have a lot of weird breakpoints for strength. So when I think of those, I'm like thinking missile pods going to strength 8 is very good against Marines. Burst cannons going to strength 6, very good against Eldar equivalents. The Riptides going to strength 9 if you need it. Could be good for hitting a transport. The Breaches going to strength 7 AP 2 is the key bit on them. So they would like that a lot. And then trying to think off the top of my head.
So many guns.
Broadsides really like this as well, weirdly.
Okay.
The situation, if you need to shoot at something strength 12, getting +1 to wound on them is quite good. Also going to AP 5 is actually quite a big break point because it just means nothing gets to save against you with your ignore cover guiding. So that's actually an important breakpoint. They also have a lot of guns like plasmas and stuff, and +1 AP on Seeker missiles and stuff like that is also really solid. The other one I really like this on is units of 2 Piranhas because they go to strength 10 with their Melter 4 Melter guns and AP 3 with their AP 4 with the Seeker guns.
For their like one and done term where they're going to actually need to shove the damage through a tank or a
you don't care about hazardous at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly. They're dead anyway. They knew what this was. Yeah, I like that. Is there any application on the SMS as well? Is there a case because is that strength 5?
SMS is strength 5.
I guess that helps for the chaff bodies potentially if you want to.
We put SMS in a corner. I put SMS in a corner and we don't look at it. Because his on
that way frustration lies, right? Yeah.
It hits. If they were to in the future get rid of the split fire penalty for Tau, then we can maybe consider SMS. But until then, it's going to sit in the corner and we're not going to look at it. We pretend it doesn't exist.
That's cool. I'm here for it. Okay, so then we're taking it on down to Threat Assessment Analyzer. The Earthcast have been experimenting with implanting AI neurochip technology into handheld scanners, enabling the swift calculation of precise firing solutions. It's another shooting boost. I can already see it's one that Jack's going to like. It's your shooting phase. You pick a Tau Empire unit, and it can have sustained hits or lethal hits. Or you can give it sustained and lethal hits, but it also gains hazardous. So again, can't stack this with the one above, so you can't have your strength AP, sustained and lethal. But what you absolutely can do is have a unit that is proccing sustained one and lethal hits at the same time and taking a few mortals for the privilege. Jack, is this good?
I don't know. I mean, it's a solid damage increase. I won't lie. And obviously you can put it on anything. So anything with large volume is going to really like this. So broadsides really like it, and breaches really like it. They're the two that come up to mind.
Yeah, you need the volume, don't you, to make it sort of worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also things like Star Scythe with burst cannons. They really like that. Missile pods quite like this as well because they innately reroll to hit. There is no way to get crit 5s in Tau, so we're not going to get anything ridiculous going on. But yeah, that's it's a solid damage increase. The problem is that a lot of the time you'll roll your shots and you'll get like 2 6s, like you know, and I know that's like. I know I'm complaining a little bit about that.
No, but it's completely right. I think it speaks to the type of guns that you've got. You've got a lot of guy with gun and other gun, and it's like in total you're getting a couple of 6s out of that, right? Like a lot of the time.
Yeah, like +1 CP, 1 CP you're spending on you. It may give you like 2 extra wounds.
Yeah,
it may give you like 2 to 4 extra wounds, or it may give you like 10 extra wounds, 15 extra wounds. Right, you don't know. So it's very like swingy, I guess. Which is something that makes me like, do I want to do that? But yeah, that's not ideal. To answer Swift's question, you can't drop it out if it has sustained or lethal because nothing in Tau has sustained or lethal.
Yeah, this is just not that. So that's the thing. I think people Carrion obviously has some sustain going on, but it's not the same. It's not built into the data sheets, right? So
yeah,
this is giving you a tiny bit of that energy, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah, because we have Carrion and Montcar, they didn't put them on any of the data sheets because they would overlap. Is my theory. So this gives you kind of a bit of that back. The reliability of Montcar, the volume of Carrion. You can kind of pick one, but as I say, I'm wary of it because it's swingy. But
I totally understand that. I guess in a pinch into a hard target, being able to get some lethals, it's a nice thing if you're trying to shove that last bit of damage through. But as you say, I think it's breaches where you're looking at this and thinking that's where the most immediate application is.
It's really good if you lean into the CP. Like if you have Farsight for a free strat, this would be ideal for him.
Yes. So and it does feel like, I don't know, I'm curious what you think. It feels like there's a lot of strats you'd like to be tapping in this. So getting some free strats. Feels like a nice play.
Working on the CP economy, yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, finally we have the NeuroWeb System Jammer. This prototype countermeasure device emits an intense neurostatic jamming field, scrambling the enemy's senses and fouling their aim. Beautiful. The opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. You pick a Tau Empire Crisis unit, so getting a bit more specific here, that was selected as a target. And until the end of the phase, your unit can only be selected as target of a ranged attack if the attacking model is within 18. So loan up 18 for Crisis units. Jack, what are we thinking?
Yeah, this is okay. It's not crazy good, mostly because most of the Tau units are at 18 or 24 inch range.
This is the thing. Yeah.
It is good for missile pods, fire knives, because they're playing at 36, so they can kind of sit in your deployment zone, like blast at long range, and just have this strat to fall back on. So that's okay. But yeah, you. Like if you could engineer a situation where you need to shoot like an infantry unit and then the cross-board like anti-crisis unit.
Yeah, it's like maybe on the Switch. Like
it's going to be super niche. It's not going to necessarily be something you play around, especially since we're very MSU with a crisis anyway. So I'm not sure if that's one that's going to be super, super good. But again, it's a nice one to have in the back pocket. And I won't lie, man. Like if you had 6 amazing stratagems, you'd never be able to use them all anyway. So
exactly,
I mean, having one niche one is totally fine.
Exactly, and it's like it's not that this is bad. It's just that it's situational, and it is every now and again you get strats where you're like, I'm not sure the thing you're saying I can do here is a thing that happens that often, and this is definitely one because it's like Crisis. They're either hidden or they're ready to die. Those are the 2 lives they tend to lead. Right? I guess I don't know how fast the Crisis is. Are there some fun rapid ingress then loan up 18 plays with this? I guess you could be a bit more ballsy with where you drop in potentially.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, you move 10 base, but they move 12 with a cold star, and they could advance on you in that case. So they're decently quick.
So that's potentially again that's 2 CP though, right? So it's like
well,
interesting.
It's 0 CP if you come in with them ranges.
Oh yeah. So that is the toolkit, guys. We've got a bunch of defensive buffs, healing buffs. We've got some shooting buffs. We've got a nice mix of tools there. We've got some enhancements that juice up your commanders, and we've got +6 to range. Jack, let's talk your initial thoughts. Obviously, you've only just got this. How are we feeling about it for Tau?
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this. I'll be honest. It's really nice to have a collection of defensive strats. That's not something that Tau normally get. I think there's only like 3 across the entire codex of all the detachments.
And it's those 2 tools are just huge on the units that Tau like to use in the Ghost Kill and the Riptide, right? It's massive for them.
Yeah, exactly. So having some defensive strats is really solid. The damage increase strats are really nice. It's nice for things to be mostly tagged for Tau Empire rather than just Battlesuit. Obviously, the 2 defensive strats. But you're never going to really need defensive strats for breaches anyway. Nothing's going to keep them alive. So yeah, I mean these are all solid. The one thing I noticed that we don't have is there's very little utility in here. When I say that, I mean there's no real movement shenanigans. You can't. There's no reactive moves. There's no uppy downy. There's no 6-inch deep strike. You know those sorts of things. I'm not saying we needed any of those in here, but I'm just mean like utility stuff.
No, I get you because it's honest, right? It's ultimately honest. It's juicing up some stuff and it's making you a bit tougher. It's not changing the game massively in that sense.
Yeah. So I think this is great in the sense it increases the reliability of your shooting because it means a lot of the time you're winning on like 3s or 2s instead of 4s or 5s. So that's really solid and I like that. And the defensive stuff is really good too. But yeah, it's just the can you go without? Excuse me, sorry. The movement shenanigans is that something like the extra movement of Montcar, that sort of stuff? Like, is that something that you're okay going without? Which I think I probably would be. But it is something to keep in mind. I really like also how the enhancements in this one. One of the big problems I have with the 9th edition codex, the 10th edition codex, is unlike the 9th edition codex, which encourage you to take a mix of weapons on your crisis. A lot of the time now you're just taking all the same weapon, whereas now with these enhancements, they kind of encourage you to tack on like one different weapon onto your commander, which is just a nice feeling. It doesn't quite bring back what we used to have, but it is very cool. To have
it's a little bit of that sort of tinker to taste, tailor to taste kind of thing, isn't it? And just sort of being able to spec the different suits in. And so I can foresee with this one, you know, we're going to have little moments in the game where there's particular problems need solving, and you just you whack that gun on your commander, and that's the one you want right now, and you can kind of cycle around. So that's quite good fun. Not quite as glorious as some of the 9th tech that they had available, but still very, very good.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. I mean, I think that's our initial response. I guess if we're thinking, is there any initial thinking from you, Jack, in terms of lists and builds? I appreciate it's very early to have this, but what's in your head as far as things you might be including?
My initial thought is just kind of you go Tau good stuff, right?
That's why I was loath to ask. I was like, probably just Riptides, Ghost Kills.
I mean, ultimately that's an internal balance issue.
Of course,
doesn't really fix, but that's totally fine. I think it does open up a couple of things, right? So like, yes, you can take Ghost Kills, but the Fusion Cadre is now a real choice. You have to think about whether you want to take that or not. Side weapons like plasma rifles on Riptides are suddenly 24-inch range again, and that makes them a more viable choice. The sort of little things like that are things that you want to think about. The 16-inch range on breaches is a massive quality of life increase, and it really reduces the kind of pressure you have to advance your transports and get to the other side of late walls and stuff. Well, I mean, 100%. Not outside of walls, but you can sit further away from someone and shoot them. This
is just the killer thing, I think. Yeah, it's just you'll just feel that benefit a bit. In a game with a lot of pressure armies right now, or a lot of situations where there's a lot of stuff to clear. I think being able to reach out and touch things a bit more will definitely. So piranhas and piranhas are something that I really like the look of because the extra metal range and some of these strats are really good in them. Ghost Kills, Riptides. I think some of the crisis. I would be taking like 0 or 1 crisis unit maybe before. Here I can see myself taking like 2. So of various types. So that is a good thing. Is obviously showing that there is a slight build difference. It does encourage you to take units that you normally wouldn't.
which is something that I like. Broadsides are another one that I think get a lot out of this attachment.
Yeah.
Again, it's just going to be how do you? You're not going to fit it all in, so you need to figure out what you're gonna be taking. But yeah, there's a lot to look at.
Yeah, 100%. And in line with recent detachments, it's permissive enough that there are different directions you can take it, but it still feels like it has a character and a flavor. So I think that's really cool, and it genuinely feels like it sits in amongst the other options Tau already have as something a little bit different too, which is good. It's not more of the same, and it's not like a sort of thematic, but ultimately ineffectual. You can see the edge, the cases in which you're going to get use out of this, and it should give Tau players some new room to explore. So that's very exciting. Wonderful. All right, Jack. Sorry, Jack. You got anything else?
I think it's definitely going to become a staple in competitive. I think you're going to see this a lot.
That's awesome.
It's not just going to be forgotten about. So
and that's what you want. You definitely want that coming to the fore, being out there in the game, giving some new options. Because I think, as we've alluded to, Tau haven't had the easiest time of it competitively, and I think it'd be really cool for them to get out there in the game and be causing some mischief again. So we'll see if the prototype Cadre brings them that. Thanks very much, chat, for tuning in. Hit the old like and subscribe. Do leave us a comment. We are aiming to rattle through a bunch of detachments today. I have already seen some shout outs for the more DACA detachment round to Young. That is what we're going to cover next. So I think the plan, we're going to go away now, have a little break. We will reconvene at 11:30 to get stuck into more DACA, where even more guns are happening. Another faction that loves experimenting with ranged weaponry. Who knew? So that'd be good. Thank you very much, Jack, for joining me. Really, really good fun. And we will see you all again very soon. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.